Welcome back, Gamecock fans, to yet another Canadian Cock Talk on the Spurs Up Show, the home of all the best Gamecocks content on the internet. I'm so happy that you are here to join me for today. Basketball, we all know the COVID cases and everything with basketball, the whole COVID situation, not faring fairly well for the Gamecocks right now. It has been a rough couple last month or two. Even like we started back late November. We had a huge absence in December, very little games played there, and then just as we get back into January, we have our game versus Florida A&M. We have our, I can't remember if that was January or just late December, but then we also had our Texas A&M game in January, and now just our Ole Miss game and our Tennessee game have been canceled. So I'm like, basketball, like that's my usual plan. I'm going to come out here and talk about basketball, give you guys a preview or whatever for the basketball games coming up and a post game or whatever talking about what happened in the most recent basketball game. But obviously I can't do that because there's no basketball games. Hopefully the Gamecocks can get back out on the court, but I want to look ahead to something that has really caught my interest in being a huge Gamecocks fan and something I really want to talk about because this is going to be one of the most fun things for Gamecock fans all of next football season. There's no game that I have circled on my schedule. Well, maybe there's one in Clemson. Exclude Clemson. There's no game that is circled for me on my schedule right now that I'm going to be so excited for, that I am going to wake up in the morning the whole week. I'm going to be looking forward to that Saturday when we go on and take on that team in Williams-Brice Stadium. And for this, I'm not giving a preview of the game because there's still a ton of things that could happen to that point where we get to the football season. Still tons and tons of things to happen with the coaching changes, with everything that's going on with both teams. We're lining up for a really good battle. So I want to preview the storylines in this game. First off, I need to mention what game this is. I haven't even told you guys yet. Obviously, I'm talking about the South Carolina-Auburn game. Tons of storylines circle this game, and why this, for me as a Gamecocks fan, and definitely probably for you as a Gamecocks fan, is a game that you are going to be really excited for this football season. Let's get the obvious out of the way. The Mike Bobo situation. Obviously, Mike Bobo comes on to the Gamecock staff this season, this 2020 season, and has a very... it's very an unexplainable season. That's what I'm going to call it, as an unexplainable season, because there's two sides to the Mike Bobo party. You either like Mike Bobo or you either don't like Mike Bobo. There's no really middleman in that sense. Well, I guess there kind of is, but like people feel there's certain ways about him. And I think especially after the last couple of weeks, many more of those people have switched to the don't like Mike Bobo side, but there's been a very clear-cut difference between the fan base in you like Mike Bobo or you didn't like Mike Bobo. And in the last week, we've re-signed him. We re-signed him back to the team. He's going to come back and be, or he's just going to stay with the team. There was thoughts that maybe we were letting him go because Shane Beamer's coming in. He stays with the team for another year. We have him as our OC. But then last week, he decides to switch and go over to the Auburn Tigers, who are also calling, who just got a new coach as well, who also want a new OC, and he decided to take that Auburn job. So right there, big storyline there. Mike Bobo, the guy who comes in for one season, brings in Colin Hill, who, again, a very clear-cut difference between you either like him or you don't like him. Makes one of the most controversial moves in the whole season last season for the Gamecocks in putting Colin Hill as the starting quarterback, although there has been talk that he wanted Luke Doty, and the whole situation with the quarterback situation was a big mess last year, and it's too much to get into right now. But Bobo, with all the decisions that he made, and then him supposed to be coming back, and then later going on to Auburn, that's going to be the big storyline in this game. Shane Beamer versus Mike Bobo, or you're going to have the South Carolina Gamecocks versus Mike Bobo and all those offensive players and everything, because the way that he left and everything, it kind of left a bitter taste in Gamecocks fans' mouth, because we had signed him as our OC, and then he left, and then we had to go out and get a new OC, and it was just once that happened, Gamecock fans were just like, what is going on with this program? Like, can we please just get a staff so I could take a deep breath and just know that my football team is set, and we're going to have a full staff to start preparing for this football season. So that was the first storyline. One storyline that I think is really going underrated in this game, and a storyline that I really want to see, is the running back matchup between not Kevin Harris, because Kevin Harris wasn't a part of this draft or this recruiting class. The running back battle between Marshawn Lloyd and Tank Bigsby, two of the highest rated running backs from their respective classes. And if you can't remember, these two guys were both highly recruited by South Carolina. I thought Tank Bigsby was a shoo-in to come to South Carolina. I thought he was a shoo-in to come to Columbia, and he was going to be suited up in the Garden and Black for the Gamecocks in 2020. Obviously, I was wrong about that because he is now in the Navy and Orange in Auburn, Alabama. He's in the Plains, and I thought he was coming to South Carolina. I remember his post on Instagram where in his recruiting trip to us, we got him an actual tank for him to take pictures on. We got an actual tank just outside of Williams-Brice Stadium for him to take a picture on or whatever. I think that was a great recruiting move, but obviously it didn't do enough to get Tank Bigsby to South Carolina, and he committed to Auburn after Marshawn Lloyd did. So it was kind of Lloyd committed to South Carolina. South Carolina already had a very highly recruited running back, and Tank Bigsby decided to go elsewhere to Auburn. That's going to be a very, very interesting matchup. I want to see who wins there, who was able to rush more, and who's able to really prove themselves in that game, because those are two high-class players. Like you see, Tank Bigsby being one of the best freshmen all season in the SEC. Marshawn Lloyd has yet to hit the field, but he's a guy that Gamecock fans are buzzing about. The instant that he hits the field, we all know that Marshawn Lloyd is going to make a huge impact. So that is a storyline also in this Auburn game that I cannot wait to see. Marshawn Lloyd versus Tank Bigsby. And just the fact that we beat them this year, that's the other storyline. The fact that Auburn was, I think, the 15th team at the time or something like that. And they really start their decline by going out and beating them at home in a very, very good. That was by far our best game of the season, best game to watch, and best game for our team to actually play. A very, very entertaining game. Obviously, you're going to have that factor that we beat them last season, and we don't play them all that often, but we're going to get them back-to-back years just because of how the whole COVID schedule went, and they were already scheduled for a schedule this season. So lots of good storylines to come up in this South Carolina-Auburn game, and I just wanted to talk to you guys about that because I think that this is going to be a very, very intriguing matchup and just something that I really wanted to get off my mind. So thank you guys so much for watching, and definitely come back next time.